All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning. I'm Anuja Kumar, and with me is Vaibhav Jyotsna Srivastav. The headlines. India and China agree on complete disengagement of troops along the LAC and de-escalation. Over 4,24,000 people recovered from coronavirus so far in the country. Door-to-door health survey in COVID-19 containment zones completed in Delhi. Final year exams in universities to be held by September end, says UGC. And former U.S. National Security Advisor John Bolton says Indo-US relationship will witness new peaks in the 21st century. National Security Advisor Ajit Doval and Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi discussed border issues in a telephone conversation last Sunday. The two special representatives of India and China on the boundary question had a frank and in-depth exchange of views on the recent developments in the western sector of the Indo-China border areas. The External Affairs Ministry said that the two special representatives agreed that both the sides should take guidance from the consensus of the leaders that maintenance of peace and tranquility in the Indo-China border areas was essential for the further development of bilateral relations. They also said that the two sides should not allow differences to become disputes. Therefore, they agreed that it was necessary to ensure at the earliest complete disengagement of the troops along the LAC and de-escalation from India-China border areas for full restoration of peace and tranquility. In this regard, they further agreed that both sides should complete the ongoing disengagement process along the LAC expeditiously. The two sides should also ensure a phased and stepwise de-escalation in the India-China border areas. They reaffirmed that both sides should strictly respect and observe the line of actual control and should not take any unilateral action to alter the status quo and work together to avoid any incident in the future that could disturb peace and tranquility in the border areas. It was also agreed that the two special representatives will continue their conversations to ensure full and enduring restoration of peace and tranquility in the India-China border areas in accordance with the bilateral agreements and protocols. Disengagement with the Chinese army has started in Galwan Valley as per the agreed terms in the Corps Commanders meeting of the two sides. Army sources said Chinese forces were seen removing tents and structures at patrolling point 14. Our correspondent reports that rearward movement of vehicles of Chinese army was seen at General Area Galwan, Hot Springs and Gogra. This development is in line with what the Corps commanders agreed to on the 30th of June at Chushul.
Chief Information Security Officer in the Prime Minister's office, Gulshan Rai, said there has been a 200% rise in cyber incidents in India in the last 2 months, but those cannot be blamed to Chinese actors. He instead blamed a shift in the service sector to work from home due to the COVID-19 pandemic for the heightened incidents. He said people are mindlessly downloading unverified applications which may lack security features. He was speaking during an interaction organized by payments company EPS in Mumbai yesterday. Ties between India and China have hit a new low following the violent clashes in the Galwan Valley in Ladakh, which left 20 Indian Army personnel dead. In reaction, India has banned 48 Chinese apps on security concerns. Rai said there are dedicated agencies which are monitoring the situation and also preventing the attacks. Rai urged people to be more careful about what they download and stick to verified applications itself. Former U.S. National Security Advisor NSA John Bolton has said that China's behavior in eastern Ladakh along the LAC worries the United States of America and every citizen in China's periphery. In an interview with DD India, Mr. Bolton said that China is known to engage in a range of unacceptable behavior.
China has one of the world's largest, maybe the largest, offensive cyber warfare program. It's got area denial and anti-access weapons to push the U.S. Navy out of the Western Pacific. It's expanding its ballistic missile and nuclear weapons capabilities, on and on and on, which is why when you see a border clash as we recently did between India and China. This sort of behavior, I think, worries everybody on China's periphery, and it worries the United States because there are key interests involved for us in all of the countries on that periphery.
Speaking over a host of other issues, former U.S. NSA Mr. Bolton said Indo-U.S. relationship will witness new peaks in the 21st century. He also asserted that Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is immensely popular among Indian Americans.
In geostrategic terms, the U.S.-India bilateral relationship is going to be one of the most important for the U.S. in the 21st century. I think China, from the U.S. perspective, is the existential threat. The other main player on the world scene for the rest of the century will be India. And the relationship, I hope, between the U.S. and India, two democracies with many common values and an increasingly shared heritage. So attention to India, I think, will inevitably grow. I think whoever's elected president in November, that administration will spend a lot more time on India.
U.S. President Donald Trump lashed out at China for its handling of the coronavirus outbreak. In a tweet, Mr. Trump said, Beijing has caused great damage to the United States and the rest of the world. His comments came as the coronavirus caseload in the U.S. surpassed the 2.93 million mark. The U.S. is the worst-hit nation from the coronavirus, with over 1.32 lakh fatalities linked to the infection. Since the start of COVID-19 pandemic, both the U.S. and China have been at loggerheads and tensions between the two have escalated. Foreign Secretary Harshvardhan Shringla has said that diplomacy has gone strongly digital, adapting to the situation arisen due to the COVID-19 pandemic. He said India has been at the forefront of it, with Prime Minister Narendra Modi turning the challenge into opportunity to start global conversations using virtual platforms. He was speaking at a webinar organized by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. Mr. Shringla said COVID-19 has disrupted diplomatic calendars, causing almost all international meetings and summits to be cancelled. He said while face-to-face meetings with counterparts have traditionally been considered essential to resolve complicated issues or conduct difficult negotiations, diplomatic engagement cannot be allowed to stop in their absence. Mr. Shringla said a crisis of this magnitude has required a coordinated global response, making sustained communication between countries all the more essential. The Foreign Secretary said the increase in tensions in different parts of the world, including on the line of actual control between India and China, have only emphasized the criticality of continued communication. He said even though a few world leaders have now started meeting physically, virtual meetings have become the dominant mode of diplomatic engagement and will continue to be so till there is an effective vaccine available against COVID-19. Mr. Shringla said for the first time, Prime Minister Narendra Modi held a bilateral virtual summit with the Australian Prime Minister. He said Mr. Modi has spoken to counterparts from as many as 60 countries.
Afghanistan President Ashraf Ghani thanked Prime Minister Narendra Modi for extending COVID-19 related assistance and for hosting SAARC leaders meeting for coordinated efforts in the region. The Afghan president said this yesterday during the virtual meeting, which was called by him to discuss a host of issues, including building a regional and global consensus on peace talks with the Taliban. The meeting was also attended by representatives from 20 other countries and international organizations, including the United Nations. The government and the World Bank have signed a $750 million agreement for the MSME Emergency Response Program. It aims at supporting increased flow of finances to micro, small and medium enterprises, MSMEs, which are severely impacted by the COVID-19 crisis. The Ministry of Finance in a statement said this is the first step among a broader set of reforms that are needed to propel the MSME sector over time.
Union Home Ministry has permitted the conduct of examinations by universities and institutions. In a letter to the Union Higher Education Secretary, it said that the final term examinations are to be compulsorily conducted as per the UGC guidelines on examinations and academic calendar for the universities and as per the standard operating procedure approved by the Union Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. The UGC has revisited its earlier guidelines related to university examinations. In view of the safety, career progression and placement of the students and their larger interests, UGC has decided that intermediate semester students will be evaluated based on internal assessment as per the earlier guidelines issued. UGC also decided evaluation of the terminal semester students, which was to be done through examinations in July, will be conducted by the end of September 2020, following the guidelines laid down by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare for COVID-19.
Tamil Nadu State Education Department has decided to go back to the system of 4 principal subjects in +1 and +2. It is in vogue for long, but the department recently issued an order stating that from the next academic year, the system of 3 principal subjects along with the mandatory 2 language papers will be implemented to reduce the book load for students. However, a section of the parents and political parties opposed the move, saying it will block the students who could not get admission in medicine the opportunity to opt for engineering. Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Edapadi K. Palanisamy will lay the foundation stone for the Ariyalur Medical College through video conferencing today. This is one of the 4 medical colleges in Kallakurichi, Kanchipuram, Kudalur and Ariyalur which had got approval in January 2020. The Bihar government has taken the decision to provide food grains under midday meal scheme and cash to over 2 crore children of primary and middle schools across the state during lockdown and summer vacation period. Every enrolled student will get the benefit of this scheme. Additional Chief Secretary R.K. Mahajan said all the DMs and concerned officials have been entrusted in this regard. You're listening to the morning news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. India and China agree on complete disengagement of troops along the LAC and de-escalation. Over 424,000 people recovered from coronavirus so far in the country. Door-to-door health survey in COVID-19 containment zones completed in Delhi. Final year exams in universities to be held by September end, says UGC. And former U.S. National Security Advisor John Bolton says Indo-U.S. relationship will witness new peaks in the 21st century. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts.
The Union Government has said a total of 4,24,433 people affected by coronavirus have recovered in the country so far. In the past 24 hours, 15,350 people recovered from COVID-19, and with this, the recovery rate reached 60.86%. The Health and Family Welfare Ministry yesterday said a total of 24,248 new cases of COVID-19 were reported in the country during the last 24 hours, taking the total number of cases to 6,97,413. In a single day, 425 deaths were reported, taking the nationwide toll to 19,693. Presently, the total number of active corona cases in the country is 2,53,287. India has achieved a remarkable feat by performing more than 1 crore COVID-19 tests since the outbreak of corona pandemic in the country. Starting from less than 100 tests per day, a multiple-fold increase in a few months was made possible by dedicated teams of various stakeholders, including research institutions, medical colleges, testing laboratories, ministries, airlines, and postal services. During the last 24 hours, more than 3,46,000 COVID samples have been tested in the country. More from our correspondent.
To effectively deal with coronavirus, the government adopted the test, track, treat strategy for early detection and containment of the pandemic. Government promoted the indigenous manufacturers for developing equipment and materials required for COVID-19 testing to become self-reliant. In January this year, India had only 1 testing laboratory for COVID-19 at National Institute of Virology, Pune. Today, more than 1,100 government and private laboratory chains are testing coronavirus samples across the country. ICMR is continuously ramping up its facilities by approving new laboratories, RT-PCR kits, TrueNet test, CVNet test for COVID-19 testing. ICMR has also recommended the use of rapid antigen test kits for diagnosis of COVID-19 in containment zones in combination with RT-PCR tests. India is also producing high-quality, low-cost testing swabs, which resulted in the production of millions of swabs in record time and at a fraction of the cost of the imported ones. Bhupendra Singh, AIR News, Delhi.
Tamil Nadu Health Minister Dr. Vijay Bhaskar has said the COVID-19 situation in Chennai has stabilized. Talking to reporters yesterday, he expressed hope that the situation may further improve despite the recent relaxations. Meanwhile, the total COVID-19 infection in Tamil Nadu is nearing 1,15,000 cases as 3,827 people were confirmed positive yesterday. Our correspondent reports 33,500 people have been tested in the last 24 hours in the state.
Tamil Nadu has emerged as one among the leading states in conducting the RT-PCR tests in the country. Nearly 13,14,000 people have been tested so far in the state. Meanwhile, a few more districts have returned to the unlocked phase 2 in full from today. Vellore and its neighbouring Ronipet districts have removed the additional restrictions imposed in them, including the closure of shops at 2 p.m. due to the surge in cases. The shops will now function for 12 hours a day from 6 a.m. Saloons can function from today in urban areas too in Vellore, which remained closed earlier. Jai Singh, AR News, Chennai.
The Karnataka government has issued a fresh quarantine rules for the interstate travellers. People reaching Karnataka from other states, including Maharashtra, will be placed in 14-day home quarantine. The earlier rule of 7-day institutional quarantine for those coming from Maharashtra has been scrapped. Testing will be mandatory for symptomatic persons reaching Karnataka from any other state. Our correspondent reports the people returning from Maharashtra account for the most number of COVID-19 cases in the state.
In an effort to encourage frontline warriors, Karnataka government is mulling over introducing an incentive of 5 marks to the medical students involved in COVID-related work. The final year MBBS and the nursing students are deployed at COVID care centers. About 2,000 medical students appearing for PG exams will be utilized for COVID-related work. The Medical Education Minister Dr. K. Sudhakar informed yesterday that the government is also thinking of doubling the salary of Group D employees involved in COVID containment measures. He informed that booth-level task force committee will be set up in all the districts to provide focused attention to containment efforts in urban and rural areas. R. Murthy, AR News, Bengaluru.
In Gujarat, the total number of cases of COVID-19 has reached up to 36,858 as 735 new cases reported during the last 24 hours. Quoting sources, AIR Ahmedabad correspondent reports that 17 patients have lost their lives, taking the total death due to COVID-19 in the state up to 1,962. More from our Ahmedabad correspondent.
Gujarat has recorded more than 700 new cases on the third consecutive day. Out of 735 new cases recorded in the state, the maximum 201 cases reported from Surat. According to official sources, out of 8,573 active cases in the state, conditions of 69 patients are critical. The total patients recovered from the COVID-19 have gone up to 26,323. More than 4,18,000 tests have been carried out in the state. Meanwhile, Ahmedabad Municipal Corporation has added 17 more areas of the city in micro-containment zone following detection of new cases. Yogesh Pandya, AR News, Ahmedabad.
In Delhi, the number of COVID-19 cases tally has surpassed the 1 lakh mark. 1,379 fresh cases were reported yesterday in a record drop after 19 days. A total number of coronavirus cases stands at 1,823. Out of these, 72,000 patients have recovered. The coronavirus recovery rate in Delhi has gone up to 72%. In the last 24 hours, 48 deaths were reported in the national capital, taking the toll to 3,115. The Delhi government has completed the door-to-door health survey in the city's COVID-19 containment zones, covering around 3.68 lakh people. Over 1.66 lakh antigen tests have been conducted in 445 COVID-19 containment zones. On the 29th of the last month, the Union Home Ministry had said that the door-to-door survey would be done in containment zones on priority basis by the 6th of July.
In West Bengal, the first ever plasma bank for treatment of COVID patients has come up at Kolkata Medical College and Hospital. Our correspondent reports Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee has inaugurated the plasma bank yesterday.
The West Bengal government has taken several steps to contain the continuous mount of COVID cases in the state. Besides opening of plasma bank, the infectious diseases hospital in Kolkata will be made as Center of Excellence. The School of Tropical Medicine will also be upgraded with required infrastructure to deal with the situation. Meanwhile, the spread of infection continues to be unabated. Another 861 people were tested corona positive and 22 people were died of the infection in last 24 hours. The rate of recovery has improved to 66% in the state. Arijit Chakraborty, AIR News, Kolkata.
In Maharashtra, the state government is gradually lifting restrictions under the fifth phase of Mission Begin Again. Fresh orders have been issued to allow hotels, lodges and guest houses outside the containment zones to operate from tomorrow with 33% of their capacity. More from our correspondent.
The hoteliers have been asked to ensure proper crowd management in the hotels, including elevators and parking lots, mandatory thermal screening at entrance and reception tables, which should have protective glasses. The government has instructed the hoteliers to make available for free hand sanitizers, preferable pedal-operated dispensers at the reception, guest rooms and public spaces for customers. The hotels must adopt contactless processes like QR code, online forms, digital payments like e-wallet, among others, for both check-in and check-out. On the other hand, Tata Sons have donated 20 ambulances, 100 ventilators and financial assistance of rupees 10 crore for setting up of Immunology and Virus Infection Research Center to the Brihanmumbai Municipal Corporation in order to strengthen a fight against COVID-19. Madhuri Pange, AIR News, Mumbai.
In Madhya Pradesh, citizens who do not follow the COVID-19 prevention guidelines at public places in Gwalior will have to work as volunteers in hospitals and police checkposts for 3 days. Fines would also be imposed on those violating the COVID-19 protocols. Our correspondent has filed this report.
Gwalior Collector Kaushlendra Vikram Singh informed that more stringent action will be taken against those who break the protocol repeatedly.
जो कोई भी बिना मास्क चलेगा, सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग का पालन नहीं करेगा, प्रतिष्ठान में अगर किसी दुकान में उसमें पालन नहीं होगा तो हम उसको अब जो है कोरोना वॉरियर्स के रूप में रोड पे, कोविड हॉस्पिटल में, क्वारंटाइन सेंटर में ड्यूटी लगाएंगे.
Meanwhile, the COVID-19 case count in Madhya Pradesh climbed to 15,284 with addition of 354 new cases in the last 24 hours. The death toll in the state has risen to 617. A total of 168 persons were discharged from the hospitals yesterday, taking the number of recovered cases to 11,579. Sanjeev Sharma, AIR News, Bhopal.
In our series Experts Speak on All India Radio, we bring you the views of some leading medical experts on COVID-19. Speaking to AIR News, Dr. Saurabh Mehrotra, consultant on Mental Health Division in Medanta Hospital, emphasized that people should indulge in positive addictions, namely reading books, music, activities, exercise, including others. He said special care should be taken not to overexpose oneself to excessive COVID-related news, which leads to anxiety-related issues.
Positive addictions would include the creative arts, such as drawing, writing, painting. All of these qualify as positive addictions. Music is positive addictions. People who are interested in dancing, that's a positive addiction. Playing a game with family members has the beneficial effect of both the social interaction as well as the fun of the game. Some people like to do gardening. Some people like to do cooking. All of these qualify as positive addictions and have a significant benefit in reducing the stress. Then social connection is very important.
Participating in AIR live phone-in program on COVID-19, Dr. Neeraj Gupta, Professor of Respiratory Medicine, Safdarjung Hospital, said that it is not advisable for pregnant women to donate plasma as it can be dangerous for the unborn child.
Pregnancy के अंदर मेल और फीमेल दोनों के जीन्स उस बच्चे के थ्रू लेडी को मिलते हैं. जब हमारी जो बच्चे के फीटस के सेल मिक्सिंग होती है तो उसके अगेंस्ट कुछ एंटीबॉडी प्रोटेक्शन होती है. तो ये मानना है कि जब तक इसमें क्लैरिटी नहीं आती है तब तक प्लाज्मा लेडी से ना लिया जाए, जिससे कि बच्चे को नुकसान पहुंच सकता है.
The News Services Division of All India Radio, in its bilingual live phone-in program today, will bring you a special discussion on COVID-19. Listeners can ask questions to the experts on toll-free telephone number 1800 11 5767. You can also ask questions on the telephone number 011 2331 4444 and post queries on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts by hashtag AskAIR. This can be heard tonight on the FM Gold channel and additional frequencies from 9:30 p.m. onwards. This program will also be available on our website newsonair.com and on our YouTube channel News on Air Official. You can also follow us on the News on Air app for updates.
Every year during the holy month of Shravan, lakhs of Lord Shiva devotees throng the famous Kashi Vishwanath temple in Varanasi. But this time, due to corona pandemic, the numbers were very low on the first Monday of Shravan. Our correspondent reports the newly launched service of home delivery of prasad during Shravan got a good response on the very first day.
The scheme of Department of Posts and Kashi Vishwanath Temple Trust for the home delivery of prasad of the temple became popular among devotees from the first day of its launch. More than 115 e-money orders were received on the first day of Sawan yesterday. Krishna Kumar Yadav, Director, Department of Posts, Lucknow Circle, told AIR that department is getting very good response from devotees. He said that facility is available in districts of eastern Uttar Pradesh, and to get the prasad, one has to send electronic money order of rupees 251 from any post office to Senior Superintendent of Post Offices, Varanasi East Division, and on the third day, the prasad will be delivered by speed post. The parcel of prasad will include a photograph of Kashi Vishwanath Temple's Jyotirling, Mahamrityunjay Mahayantram, Shiv Chalisa, Rudraksh Rosary, dry fruits, ash, and a packet of sweets. Sushil Chandra Tiwari, AIR News, Lucknow.
In view of the recent deaths of people in several parts of the country due to lightning, National Disaster Management Authority, NDMA, has emphasized the need to create awareness among the people about lightning and precautions to be taken. Talking to AIR News, NDMA member Krishna Vats highlighted the steps to be followed by the people for safety.
They should not go under a tree. Tree actually increases the risk of lightning. Activities of lightning are more probable pre-monsoon months, particularly May and June. People should pay much greater heed to the early warning. They should not allow themselves to remain in the open field. They should take shelter immediately. And we will also spread more awareness about it. We are determined to reduce the number of deaths.
Now let us take a look at the weather updates for today. The national capital Delhi is expected to have a generally cloudy sky with light rain. The minimum temperature recorded was 27 degrees Celsius and maximum will be 33 degrees. Mumbai will have a generally cloudy sky with heavy rain. Minimum temperature recorded was 25 degrees Celsius and maximum will be 29 degrees. In Chennai, the minimum temperature recorded was 28 degrees Celsius and the maximum will be 34. In Kolkata, the minimum temperature recorded was 27 degrees Celsius and maximum will be 33. Indian Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, the minimum temperature was recorded at 26 degrees Celsius in Jammu, while the maximum will be around 36 degrees. In Gilgit, the sky will be mainly clear, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. The minimum temperature was recorded at 16, while the maximum will be around 33. The sky in Muzaffarabad will be mainly clear, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening.
And now an overview of today's newspapers. All the dailies today have reported about the moves that led to border de-escalation at the LAC in Ladakh. The Asian Age writes, in possible breakthrough, India and China agree on total disengagement at the LAC. Corona can spread via air, but WHO yet to admit it, is a headline in The Pioneer. UGC go ahead to final year exams across varsities, online, offline or blend of both, reports the Hindustan Times. The Hindu quotes the ICMR saying COVID-19 tests cross 1 crore, adding those testing negative and rapid antigen tests should be sent for RT-PCR checks. And finally, the Economic Times reports rise of the machines help away pricey appliances take over, with record surge in sales of vacuum cleaners, dishwashers as well as do-it-yourself grooming products.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. India and China agree on complete disengagement of troops along LAC and de-escalation. Over 4,24,000 people recovered from coronavirus so far in the country. Door-to-door health survey in COVID-19 containment zones completed in Delhi. Final year exams in universities to be held by September end, says UGC. And former U.S. National Security Advisor John Bolton says Indo-US relationship will witness new peaks in the 21st century. For details of these stories and more, log on to our website www.newsonair.com. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.